Welcome to the lab for developing remotely and debugging in Eclipse. Let's get started. After you complete this lab, you should understand the following: how to enable remote development mode of a project that is linked to the Bluemix server. This allows you to automatically push your incremental changes to the Bluemix server without restarting the application. You should also understand how to debug a local application deployed on the WebSphere Liberty server. This will help you with debugging locally and figuring out your errors while you do development.
Now I'm not going to show you every slide on the screen, but I will tell you what slide I'm on, and I'll mention the steps from time to time so you can keep up. So please keep your slides next to you as you go through this video. Okay, I'm on slide 3. What we're going to do now is enable remote development mode in Eclipse. So to do this, let's go to our servers view. We're going to right click on the project and say enable development mode. You should see a success message that the Bluemix server is in development mode when it's complete. Okay, you can see now mine says developing, and this can take some time, so be patient. All right, slide 3, step 2. Now we're going to modify the service API file. So up here in Project Explorer, go to our project, go to Java Resources and Source, and then you're going to find under the first package the service API.java. Go ahead and open that up. Okay, on line 36, our current message is successful. We're going to change that to say success, welcome, and then we're going to output the user ID with a period. Go ahead and save those changes. Now if you notice down here in our server, it's now going to say it started, but it needs to be republished. Now I'm on slide 5. So what we're going to do now is we're going to right click on the server for Bluemix here and say publish. And once it's complete, you will see that it's started and synchronized now. So it has been republished already for you. Now this is how you'll push incremental changes to the remote server while you're developing. It's a very handy tool. Let's test in Postman now. I'm on slide 7. Now before we go to Postman, I like to come back here and get my URL that I'm going to be working with. So I'll right click here and say open homepage, and it's up and running. I'm going to take a copy of this URL and I'm going to go over to Postman. Okay, in Postman, we're going to place that URL in the URL. We're going to type API/service/login. Remember, we're going to change the HTTP method to post. We're going to go to the body tab, make sure it's raw, and then we're going to type this JSON to set the user ID to admin and the password to password. Once you're done with that, go ahead and click send. And if all is working correctly, we should see our new message that we just modified. Success. Welcome admin.
Okay, I'm now on slide 9. Next, we're going to enable local debug mode in Liberty Profile. Let's get started. So up here on the project, right click and choose debug as, and then choose debug on server. Make sure you have choose an existing server selected, and under localhost we'll find the WAS Liberty localhost server running. Go ahead and click finish. You'll get this pop up if you already have the server running that says the server's not running in debug mode. Do you want to switch? Just say OK. when debug mode is successful and the server has restarted in debug mode, it should pop up a browser and it should go to the local link and you should see the hello. This means it is successful. You can also check now in your servers, you should see down here that it's debugging. So our WAS Liberty server on localhost is in debugging and synchronized state. Okay, next we're going to go to our services API.java file. And if you don't have that open, then make sure you're in Project Explorer. If you don't have this open, go ahead and click the project, go to Java Resources, Source. The first package you will find our services API.java. And if you double click it, it'll open it up. Now what we're going to do on this line 36 that we made, let's go ahead and right click here in the little space over here. We're going to right click and say toggle breakpoint. You should see a blue dot put there. That means that it is ready for, that breakpoint is ready to be stopped at this point if during execution it gets to that point. Okay, I'm now on slide 13. Next, we're going to actually test this debugging. Now that we have our server in debug mode, we're going to go ahead and test it through Postman. Okay, before we go to Postman, I'm going to take the URL here and make a copy of it. Next, we're going to switch to the debug perspective. So up here, open perspective icon, click that and choose debug and select OK. Now we have the debug perspective open. Let's go ahead and open Postman. I already have mine open. Okay, I have Postman open. Now for this exercise, I'm actually going to make Postman a little smaller. And what I'm going to do is paste the URL in here. This is the local host. I'm going to type API/service/login. And I'm going to change the HTTP mode to post. I'm going to go to the body tab, select raw. And if you don't have it there already from other things we've done, you're going to type in here user ID is admin and password is password. Now I'm going to click send. Behind the scenes, we will see that the processes ran. In this green bar right now, we are in the mid process and our breakpoint has stopped the process waiting right here. Now that we're in debug mode, you can actually see the different things like the variables. So we have a user ID and it's admin. And you can see the different threads and you can actually see the different call stack for that thread. Now just for kicks, I'm going to go ahead and change user ID value. Change value instead of admin to admin2. Say OK. And I'm going to go ahead and tell this to continue its execution. Up here, that's the resume or F8. And now going back to Postman, we can see success. Welcome admin2. Now I'm on slide 15. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a different test to get the search tips. So let's go ahead and remove this breakpoint. Right click and say toggle breakpoint. It'll go away. And we're going to go down to line 107 right here. Right click and toggle breakpoint. We've now added a new breakpoint on line 107. Now let's go back to Postman. Take off login and type in search tips. And in the JSON down here for the body raw, we're going to put question depression and hit send. Again, Eclipse in the process is waiting at line 107 for us to determine what to do next. And you can walk through and see all the different variables and what things look like. It's very handy. So go ahead and click F8. Again, you can click the resume up here, the green button, the green play button, or you can click F8. And back on Postman, we will see our JSONs returned, so we had a successful debug. To recap, these are the things you should have learned in this lab. You should be able to enable the remote development mode in Eclipse. This is for the remote Bluemix server. You should be able to push incremental changes to your remote Bluemix server. And you should be able to test with Postman the remote Bluemix server as well. You should also be able to enable local debug mode in the Liberty profile and test a local debug session. That's the end of this lab. I hope you've enjoyed it.